Welcome, everybody, to the Seven Figure CEO podcast. I have a super special guest today, Mr. Blake Harris. He is the owner of Harris Holt Martial Arts in Clarksville, Tennessee, where they have 650 active students. He's a fifth degree black belt in Shotokan, and he's also one of our amazing Grow Pro clients, as well as a Maya client. Mr. Harris, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here and looking forward to the opportunity to talk to you today.
Awesome. So let's just kind of lay some groundwork here. Give us a little history lesson. Tell us about the school, how long you've been in business. We know you have 650 students, which is absolutely amazing. But, what kind of programs do you offer and what markets do you serve?
Yeah. So actually, I started the school when I was 19, turning 20.
Wow.
And I'm 31 now, but I started doing martial arts at 8. And actually, I tried to start martial arts when I was 5 years old. And my parents took me in and said, "Hey, is it something you want to do?" And I immediately said no, because it didn't smell very good in the school. So to all school owners, it's important to have a clean school and it smell good, because it can turn people away. But anyway, I started the school when I was 19. I was in college. Now since then, we've been open 11 years this coming December, and we've got 650 students. It's been a crazy past 11 years, and even crazier past year in itself. So I'm glad to be here and look forward to continuing to grow the school.
Awesome. Now, something really stuck out there, right? You became an entrepreneur at age 19. How did that happen? Do you have entrepreneurs in the family? Did an opportunity just kind of present itself? Was there any fear there? Because 19, that's really, really young. Talk to me about how that happened.
Yeah. So it was, it all happened kind of, it's not something I planned to do. I was in school. I actually started school to be an accountant, and realized after the first year in college that was not up my alley to do accounting. So I realized I hated it a lot.
No spreadsheets, right? I don't want to deal with the spreadsheets.
No. It was, it was a career that I knew that I could get a job with. But my whole family is actually in the medical field. And my dad he's a pharmacist. He had owned a couple of pharmacies in the past. As I started college, I actually bought into part ownership in the school I was taking classes at where I originally started. I was part owner for about 6 months, and that didn't go very well. So I went to my instructor at the time of where I was taking classes, and also was part owner, and said, "Hey, is it something you want to start a school?" And he said, "Yeah." So I resigned at my old location. I resigned in October of 2010, and then had the school open in December of 2010. So it was all a really fast process.
Really quick turnaround.
One thing led to another, and within probably 3-4 months, we had over 100 students just in that. There's only 2 months that we've had that we lost money, and that was the first 2 months we were open. So
wow. So practically immediately in the green. What would you say? This is, back really before Facebook ads were really a big thing. How'd you guys in 2 months get to 100 students? What was, the main marketing channel for that?
That was that was pretty tough. We all of our customer service, we offered something I think that was superior to any other martial arts school in the area as far as customer service. What we taught, there were other martial arts schools, but being that just the experience that we had and my partner had at the time, we were just really able. Anybody that came in, we pretty much signed up. We had a super high rate of enrollment. Of course, we at the time, Yellow Pages, that was a thing. So a Yellow Pages ad, and then we did some ads in a magazine, and then just word of mouth. I think word of mouth was probably our biggest thing, because as we started getting 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 students, they started telling everybody, and it was just one thing led to another, and we had raving fans. So it was great.
That's an amazing success story, right? From the beginning. And I love how you prefaced it. You said it wasn't easy, right? Sometimes people look at school owners that, have that level of success and they think, oh, must be nice, right? I can't stand when people say that, oh, that must be nice, right? It's like, no, it took a lot of hard work to get there.
Right.
Can you let our listeners know, we know your last name is Harris, but the name of the school is Harris Holt Martial Arts. So how'd you come up with that name?
Yeah. So, like I said, I started martial arts when I was 8, and one of my main instructors who taught me for years, his last name is Holt. And as the opportunity presented itself in 2010, I went to him because I knew that I needed some help with teaching classes. It's difficult to do a school all by yourself with no help from anybody. So um, I went to him and asked him, said, "Hey, you want to open a school?" And he said, "Yeah." So he actually had another full time job at that point in time. So the first 3 4 months we were open, I taught all the classes, and he came in on his day off to help. And then after about 3 or 4 or 5 months or so, he quit his other job and came on full time. And then about 4 years later, 2014, 2015 timeframe, I bought him out, and he still currently, teaches at the school. We're on good terms, and he teaches pretty regularly the older youth, teen, and adult classes.
That's awesome. So we've got to ask because, I mean, in some states the pandemic is kind of behind us, and in other states it's still very front and center. Obviously, our industry was hit very hard. Many school owners shut their doors, forever. How were you affected by COVID? And what was your game plan, right? You as the leader, your team is looking to you, your students are looking to you. What was your game plan, and how were you affected by COVID?
Yeah, so in 2000, I guess was it last year? It's everything's been a blur, but in
I know,
2020,
right?
yeah, in 2020, when COVID hit, it was. I admit that probably the first few days, it was, or maybe a week or so, we were trying to figure out kind of what to do, and I took a step back, with Maya's help. We were able to come up with a game plan. We did some online private lessons and Zoom classes. And we went from 500 students or so at that point in time to down to about 150 students after we were open back up. So we
Wow.
lost quite a few really quickly. We were only closed for about 6 weeks or so. So I know a lot of areas were closed a lot longer than that. But we think we closed into March or so and then opened up in May. But once we opened back up, the May and June were pretty slow when we got open back up, and then after that, we kind of let some of the, I guess, our government, the area we're in, lessen some of the restrictions, and we were able to start enrolling, a lot more people. And it's funny because I look back and I keep track of all the numbers, and we actually enrolled more people in 2020 than we did in 2019. So even though there were a few months, 2 months there that we didn't enroll anybody essentially, when once we got started back, we during that time of COVID, we really pushed our Facebook ads. We really pushed all of our marketing. We upped everything at that point in time because more people were on Facebook, more people were on the internet and not going to work. So we really pushed our online market. And once we opened back up, they had seen our name so many times on Facebook and had heard about us. So a couple months after COVID, we rocketed back up, and now we're at 650 active.
Wow. So yeah, definitely being in Tennessee, I'm in Florida, so kind of similar, right? We weren't shut down as much as everybody, but I mean, you took a huge dip in your active count going from 500 to, 150. And what I love that you said that you did is in regards to your marketing, you did the exact opposite of what most businesses did, right? When they shut down, most businesses had knee-jerk reactions. They cut all of their budget lines because they weren't sure if they were going to be able to, open back up. But when everybody goes right, that's usually an opportunity to go left, which is what you did. And I'm assuming that that's playing a large role to where now your active count is 150 students higher than pre-COVID. which is, it's just amazing.
Right, right. Yeah, it was, it took a little while to get back up to that benchmark of where we were before COVID. But like Mr. Metzger had talked about, that wave was coming, and we hit that. And this year, we've taken the school to a whole nother level with, active counts, the number, just the number of students, the amount of revenue. And we're way, ahead of where we were this time last year. So it's, I can't take all credit for it. I've led the way on it, but I've had help with GoPro and Maya and everybody. It's definitely made a difference. I made a few different changes over the course of the last year and a half, and it's had a huge return, not just for me, but my staff and students as well.
Absolutely. And you as the CEO of the company, in my opinion, seven-figure CEOs know the importance of having a mentor, and not just having a mentor, listening to what that mentor, says. Curious, what, Harris Hold Martial Arts, I know you're a fifth degree black belt in Shotokan, but prior to this interview, we were talking about all the different styles that you guys do. So what are the different services and programs that you offer? And what would you say is your main market? Like, who's your ideal student?
Yeah, so we have a kind of a really diverse group of people that we try to market to. We have kids that are 4 and 5 years old, but we're also in a military town, so we have a lot of people that come in, active military, that will come in and do, the kickboxing, Muay Thai, MMA classes, some of the jujitsu classes. So we have a program built around that. And also, as they come in, or if they bring their kids in and they're not for sure about one or the other, we usually try to get not just their kid enrolled, but also the parent enrolled, because we have so much to offer to them. So we offer classes everything from ages 4, call our Little Ninjas program, up to people that fight amateur, in the octagon. And we even have one of the employees that fought in the UFC a few times as well. So we have people that can take it from one level to the other. Some people do it as a recreational activity, and some people do it as a lifestyle and way of life, and that have been students at the school since we've been open the school.
Yeah, I love that even though you have a traditional martial arts background, martial arts has evolved over the years. I have a jujitsu school. I'm a first degree black belt in jujitsu. And, it's great to hear kind of traditional martial artists evolving their curriculum and their programs to really provide curriculum and classes to their students that are going to help them become well-rounded martial artists, right? Like, my goal as an instructor, I don't just want you to be great on your feet. I also want you to be great on the ground. I want my students to be well-rounded. Now, you had said one of your team members has fought in the UFC, 650 active count. What does your team look like, right? Who's helping Harris Holt work like a well-oiled machine?
Yeah. So this is a really unique story, probably unlike any of the other schools I've talked to. Um, I started martial arts like I said, when I was 8, at a summer daycare program. Actually, I was going there for the summer, and the instructor that come in, we did a 6 or 8 week program, and I really liked it. And a few months later, my dad takes me to a karate school, and the person that did my intro really liked it. She did a great job. So I enrolled as a student. Well, fast forward till 2010. My first full-time employee was my original instructor who taught me at the karate daycare back when I was 8. And then the person
Wow.
that I did my intro with, I hired her. She's part-time, but she's also an employee of mine. So it's really crazy. A lot of my staff, I used to work for or be taught from at some point, and now they all work with me and essentially for me, but we all work together. But I would say half my staff or so, I used to work for and be taught by at some point. So it's a really unique circle that we have. We're all super loyal to one another. Um, when the pandemic hit and we were closed, I continued to pay all my employees even before the PPP loans were approved. I paid everybody just like as they were working full time. So we all take care of each other. Now, the other half of the staff that I didn't work for, growing up, they are students that have previously taken years ago that me or my former partner knew. And then also because we have so many students, we've had other half of the staff has been kind of taught in-house and that are now black belts and now working for me, and teaching at the school. So half I used to work for, and the other half now works, that I taught. So it's a pretty unique circle, and crazy how small the martial arts community can be sometimes.
I love it. They say your network determines your net worth, and the fact that you kept such great relationships with these people for so long, I think, is a testament to your character. I'm curious. 650 active count. What does Blake Harris do on a day-to-day basis? What does your typical day look like? Are you teaching classes? Is it more about leading your employees? Is it curriculum development? Where does the majority of your focus go?
Yeah. So usually, I definitely, as far as waking up, I do a workout, just try to have some type of get the day started off, the right way. Do workout, run, lift, do some things like that, and then I'll go to the school. I don't necessarily teach regularly anymore. It's more of I kind of work or teach, when I want to, not when I have to. I have a lot of flexibility of taking off to go on, my events or just, vacation in general. But a lot of it is spent team building, focused on my staff, team meetings, and then there are times that I will go out and teach, some different classes just to make an appearance on the floor and everything. So main thing, I mean, it's not something that I have to go in and teach anymore, or go in and really everything is run systematically to where everyone knows what they're supposed to do. But I think part of the school success is constant involvement with me, just so that I'm there, and trying to provide some type of guidance and direction. And Jeff Bezos said every day is day one. So I think I get up in the morning thinking, what can I do if this was my first day starting the school? What could I do and how can I improve it? So I try to wake up with that mentality. Some days are harder than others, but definitely try to do some team building and motivate my staff, because it's easy to become stagnant.
Yeah, I love that. I've never heard that. Every day is day one. I
Yeah.
I really resonate with that. Now, was that a difficult transition for you, going from teaching all of these classes to you're no longer really on the schedule, right? I mean, you don't have scheduled classes that you're teaching. If you want to get out on the mat, you absolutely can. Was that difficult for you? Because for a lot of school owners, relinquishing that control, especially with being on the floor, is a very big hurdle. And in my opinion, it's one of the hurdles that stops them from becoming a seven-figure CEO. So, was that transition tough for you? Talk to me about that.
Initially it was, because I don't know what OCD is the right word or not, but I was just particular about who taught classes and what they were teaching
Sure.
in class. But I think with part of the school success is being open-minded, and being kind of open to teaching new things and different ways. Just like with the kickboxing MMA program, it's not necessarily part of the traditional martial arts, but the martial arts industry, just since I've been in it over the last 20 something years, has evolved a lot. And I think that being able to continue to kind of succeed and go to that next level, you have to be willing to evolve and try new things. And if it's something that, we try something, it doesn't work, then, you try something else. So that's kind of my mentality. And I've seen the rise and fall of Blockbuster. I use that as something to kind of look back on. They were the number one place to get movies and DVDs and everything, and they didn't evolve quite fast enough. And the same thing with martial arts. If we were still doing it the same way when we first opened, the same marketing, the same teaching, the same thing, then we wouldn't be here we were, where we are today. So I think it's a mix of being open-minded of what we teach, and also being open-minded to new marketing, trying new things, because that's constantly evolving. So as far as teaching, it was difficult, I guess, initially, to step back and let other people teach classes, because everyone has a different way of teaching, and what they teach and how they teach it. But in the end, it's definitely paid off.
I love it. So you just brought up marketing, and in the beginning we were talking about yellow pages, right? For many people, those are, obsolete. I can't remember the last time I saw one.
Right.
Um, what are you doing now? Like, what are the different marketing strategies that you've implemented to help you guys get to 650 students?
Yeah. So a lot of ours is, digital marketing, online marketing, with Google and Facebook. We really have a high market, not just paid ads through Google, but showing up organically as number one martial arts school in Clarksville. If you go on Google and type in Clarksville martial arts, we better be number one, which we are. So we really focus, a lot on online advertising. I keep track of how many people hear about our school, but just like when we first opened and today, our referrals and word of mouth is still a huge part of the school. They call kill them with kindness. There's going to be people in business and in martial arts that aren't going to be happy with the way you teach or what you do, or feel like they should get more or whatever. And typically when a situation comes up, I try to do something, go above and beyond, whether it's giving them a refund or doing whatever, because I think that not having a bad taste in their mouth, now when they leave, they're more likely to refer somebody. And if not refer, they're not going to badmouth us.
Sure.
So, just like with Google, Facebook, all that type of advertising, our word of mouth and our referrals is still really high up on the list, because we try to have superior customer service to any other martial arts school, that in the area.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell my team all the time, love them on the way in, love them on the way out. Right. And
Right.
because of online reviews, whether it's Facebook recommendations, Google reviews, Yelp reviews, I think it has kind of changed some people's perspective on how they deal with, customer service situations. Now, I did a little research before our podcast and I went on and I looked at your Google My Business listing, and you have 264 five-star Google reviews,
Yep.
which is amazing. I mean, I tell school owners, aim for triple digits, right? Like, if you can get triple digits, that puts you in another league than any of the other martial arts schools that are in your area. Well, I mean, you like almost 3x that. Walk me through, how in the world have you gotten 264 Google reviews? Do you have a specific strategy in place?
Yeah.
Unpack that for me.
Um, you know, this is something over the last few years, we've kind of put more of an emphasis on that, and because our customer service, I think, is superior to other martial arts schools and really any other business in the area. I can't tell you how many times I've called a business to do some work or do something at the school, and they don't answer the phone or they don't call back. So I find that happening pretty frequently. But a lot of times we just ask them to, if they leave a review, we have a sign at the school, real simple. We just have it in the back of the in the classroom. Parents can see it as they're watching their kid do class, that leave us a good review on Google, and Facebook both, and they'll get a free T-shirt, and that's all it takes. They wear the T-shirt out. People see the T-shirt, then they ask about us. And it's pretty simple. We've had student appreciation days as well, where we close down the school, rent inflatables, buy food for everybody, and it's almost a in-school festival. And we, by doing things like that, we get a bunch of reviews that day. Just say, hey, I really appreciate you doing this. I say, hey, we'll leave us a review, and we usually get 10 or 15 reviews just that day alone. So we don't try to overcomplicate it with anything. They leave a Google and Facebook review, they'll get a free school T-shirt, and that's anytime throughout the year. And then doing different activities throughout the year for our students, whether it's student appreciation or giving back to them. Most of the time, if you have really good customer service and really treat them just like their family, sometimes better than family, probably, then they'll be happy to leave a review.
I love how you said, right? You guys try to keep it simple, and I mean, really, you're just asking them, right? You have a sign up there that's asking, and then during your events, you're also asking. Now, I've got to ask this question because if you go into any of the Facebook groups for martial arts school owners, you see this question asked at least once a week. You'll have 60 different comments with tons of different strategies, but what offer do you typically push to get new students into your facility? What would be, like, let's say, your bread and butter offer?
Yeah. And that kind of rotates. We've been doing 4 weeks for 49, which is, I think, a pretty common offer for martial arts schools. And then we've done, just a free month of classes. We've done 6 weeks for $69. But typically what we do when someone comes in, and it's worked well for us, is when they come in, they ask about the special. We usually offer them two specials on the spot and say, hey, if they ask about the 4 weeks or 49, then we tell them, say, hey, you can do, four classes, $49. It includes a uniform. Or if it's something you want to get started today, we're also running an enrollment special where you can save $150 off your enrollment. So, if it's something it's something, you want to do and you want to commit to, then, the enrollment special will be better. But if you want to do the four classes and try it out, then at the end of the 4 weeks, you won't get the 150 off, but you'll be, you're still able to enroll. And a lot of times they're thinking, oh, I'm going to spend $50 on, four classes, or I'll get $150 off now. We don't do a lot of trials, to be honest. We do have a few people that will come in on trials, but because of the way it's presented to them, and the way we do the intro and the quality, holding the door open for them when they come in, just a super, superior customer service. A lot of times that when we offer, if they mention the trial special, we also immediately offer them enrollment special. And I'd probably say a very high percentage of the time they'll go ahead and just enroll then, instead of doing the trial and then paying full price after that.
Sure. Well, I'm really big on the customer journey and knowing where the customer is. And I talk about there being 6 different stages, and the first 3 are awareness, consideration, and purchase. And what you're really doing is kind of allowing them, what stage do you want to come in to our academy? If you're just still not sure, if you're still in this consideration stage, well, we have this great offer, 4 weeks for 49. But if you're ready to rock and roll today, we can save you some money, which means they would be at the purchase stage. And I think people appreciate those options, right? I mean, same thing with the way that Maya does our pricing. We have 4 different options, A, B, C, and D. And again, it just boils down to people like choices. So I think that's really smart that you're giving them that choice right from the beginning.
Yeah, we've had a good result on that, and the reason we started that is, my team wasn't really great at following up with trials. So I said, well, let's try to not necessarily eliminate trials, but try to lower how many trials we have, because the ultimate goal is to get them to enroll as a student, long term. So we started offering, now if they come in and they don't mention the trial special, then we can offer them just a regular program or an enrollment special. But if they do mention the trial, then we'll offer both. But just from the initial get go to the intro to sitting down talking to them, we typically have a really good turnaround process of a conversion process from a lead to a student. And even if they don't enroll, then we even have a pretty high turnover from them leaving that day without enrolling on anything to them calling back or us reaching out to them the next day and then them enrolling like that as well.
Awesome. So I want to shift gears here a little bit, right? We've talked, about how you got started. We've talked marketing and programs and things like that. Let's talk a little bit of wisdom, right? Because experience can be a great teacher.
Mhm.
I always say, work harder on yourself than you do your job. It's a famous Jim Rohn quote. I truly believe that doing so has allowed me to see a certain level of success. And when I asked you what's your typical day look like, you said you typically wake up and you get your workout in. How important do you think that is for you as an entrepreneur, a leader, a boss, to be able to run a successful school?
Yeah, I think it's almost vital. I think that getting up in the morning and doing some type of workout, and it doesn't have to be, running 5 miles and working out for 2 or 3 hours, but some type of physical activity, not just helps you with your body, but also I think a mental state. It helps you go into the school, more relaxed, more focused, more energized. A lot of people think I'm gonna work out and be so tired afterwards, and it's really the opposite. I think sitting around looking at your phone for hours or sitting in front of a computer for, hours at a time, that usually exhausts you more than getting up and walking, exercising. So I've actually found myself, when I get up, I'll work out, and then I wouldn't necessarily say it's a meditation time, but just a more of a reflection time about, looking at doing not just goals for the school, but also goals for myself. And I think that it shifted a little bit over the last couple of years, as I was so focused on just, growing the school, which is important. I've realized that I've shifted my goals to more self growth, opposed to external growth with other things around me. And I've noticed the school has actually done better when I'm focused more on myself, not sounding selfish, but just more working
Not at all.
on developing myself. And that's helped me make better decisions, and helped me a lot to stay focused and handle pressure in situations that maybe I couldn't handle before, when I wasn't in my peak physical and mental state.
Thank you so much for sharing that, because I think it's something that doesn't get spoken about enough in our industry, and really, I mean, any industry. We're so focused on the business that we forget there's a human being that is at the helm of this business, and your energy levels, your productivity, your ability to focus has a direct correlation to the success of the school. So I think that's awesome. If you were to start all over again, it's just one thing you would have done differently.
Um, Probably join Maya sooner. That's probably,
I love that
and GrowPro.
answer.
Yeah, both of them. I probably would have just joined both organizations, GrowPro and Maya, sooner. But so yeah, looking back, of course, I'm extremely fortunate and happy to be where I am now. But I, it's hard to say necessarily how I would do things differently. Um, I'm fortunate to be where I'm at today, but honestly, probably not try to do it myself for so long. I opened the school in 2010, and it wasn't until 2016, before I joined mine and seeked outside help. I'd got the school to where, as high as I could do, I was doing about 50,000, 55,000 in gross monthly. I spent a lot of time
Which
trying to
is
figure out.
amazing that I mean,
Yeah,
that's amazing you got there on your own. Like that,
right.
that's serious numbers there, right? Doing $50,000 to $55,000 a month. So kudos to you that you figured it out to get there. And most people would just say, okay, I'm good. But you didn't, right? You knew that there was this next level.
Yeah. It was, seeking outside help, looking at, cause I didn't look at any other necessarily martial arts schools or anything. I was just more customer focused on how to develop that customer, just the customer support, and being to have raving fans, and making sure that they had superior service at the school. But um, once I joined Maya, I kind of opened my eyes to what other business leaders and martial arts school owners were doing. And just over the last 5 years alone, we went from doing 50 to 55,000 in gross, to doing about 100 to 130,000 in gross monthly, which is great. And our active count, as far as student average value, has doubled. So it's been a crazy journey, because it's not just something I'm able to do for myself, but also to be able to give back to the employees, the students. Whether it's providing more equipment, or more opportunities for them, or more opportunities for the staff. So I'm the type of person that, as the school does good, and it continues to grow, I always want to give back to those around me, whether it's myself, or my parents, or anybody that I care about. I try to always give back to them, because I've been fortunate and lucky enough to be able to be where I'm at today.
With a lot of hard work, that's for sure.
It has taken a lot of hard work, and like I said, going from working 70 to 80 hours a week, when I first opened the school, to working 30 to 40 hours a week now, and mainly because I want to, because I enjoy what I do. I'm passionate about it. I don't necessarily have to go in, but I think if I didn't, I'd be really bored sitting at home. So,
Yeah, what would you do, right?
right.
Everybody always asks, like, when are you going to retire? And I'm like, what would I do all day? Like, I mean, I like boating, but can you really be on a boat all day, every day? I don't know. I think
Right.
I think for many entrepreneurs, seeing progress in any area of our life can really equate happiness, and it's hard to feel like you're progressing if you're just sitting around. So I completely get that. Any additional nuggets of wisdom as we wrap up here? Any insight that you would like to share to whether it's a martial arts school owner or just a CEO, small business owner? Any additional nuggets?
Yeah, I think just surrounding yourself with people that are successful. I've heard the saying that you're an average of the five people you spend the most time with, and I think surrounding yourself with the right people, because in the past, having, whether it's not the best friends or not people that are going to push you to go to that next level. I've been fortunate enough to have my dad be there to support me from the get go to where I'm at now, and he continues to support me. So I think if you find yourself in a rut, and when things get hard, or whatever the situation is, um, don't just quit or feel like, well, it's not something that can be done. Surround yourself with the right people, and that'll definitely make a big difference. It has for me since I joined Maya. It's opened my eyes and been able to propel me to that next level. So if you find yourself in a rut, look for different people to be around, and I think that that'll make a huge difference in the long run.
And also go to mayahub.com.
You got it. Get the bitch in there.
Awesome. Well, Mr. Harris, I really, really appreciate your time. My goal with these interviews is to interview seven-figure CEOs, which is exactly, who you are, what you stand for, what you have developed. And one of my biggest takeaways today was how customer service eccentric you are, right? As small of a detail as holding the door open for them as they're coming in. Success is in the details. I have a bunch of takeaways, and I really appreciate your time today.
Hey, Chris, thanks for having me. And obviously, anything else that I can do in the future or to help with, I definitely will. And I appreciate all your support and your company support as well. It's made a huge difference for me, my staff, and the school.
Oh, thank you, sir. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.
All right. See you.